NSFW. What s something unexpected? You've experienced a partner doing that in a misguided attempt to spice things up. My friend in high school had a rather inexperienced girlfriend. She assumed that if jerking his dick felt good, that doing the same to his balls would feel good as well. All I remember was the blood-curdling scream from the other end of the house as she grabbed his entire sack in her hand and yanked hard. Apparently this was the second yank, because the first one had left him out of breath. She, of course, had thought his gasp for air after the first time had been pleasure. Edit. Thank you, kind stranger, for the gold. I almost feel badly that I am getting this from a friend's pain. Almost D. I love my husband, but when we are in the bone zone and he is going to town, I will say something like do not stop, and then he will stop and ducking do this Shakira shit with his hips like you like that. Number, no, I told you not to stop doing what you were doing before. Not for you to try and convince me that your milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. He has since learned not to do this thing. But it is just funny that that is something he thought would interest me. I have had multiple partners do the wiggle to me. I am not a porn watcher, so I have always wondered where guys pick this up from. Maybe it is something deep in their DNA that whispers, do you remember doing the windmill dick? Do that, but inside a girl. My ex loved that. Sometimes it was the only way she could get off. My partner now, no dice. Took me a while to adjust. This was all with my first serious girlfriend a few years ago. Once, she licked my ear during sex. Inside my ear, like, wet willied me real good. I was just like what the duck. Flipped her over, pinned her down, licked inside both her ears in retaliation, all in good fun, mind you. Giggles ensued. Another less harmless time was when she death gripped my penis, no lube lotion, and started vigorously jacking me. I endured it for as long as I could, like a minute maybe, before finally succumbing to the pain. When she was done, my penis was badly chafed and bruised red and blue. My penis was out of commission for a couple of weeks. Another time she bit my penis during a blowjob thinking it would be sexy. It was not. The skin on a circumcised penis is not very thick. It made a small paper cut like incision right under my glands. Took a good few days to heal. Lastly, she sucked really hard on my testicles one time. Like she was trying to suck a grape through a straw. She sucked it into her mouth and it was like she was trying to swallow it. I am actually surprised I did not suffer a testicular torsion or some shit, because that was more painful than any blow I did ever take into the crotch. My scream of agony told her real quick that the testicles were fragile. Best girlfriend I ever had. I once brought a girl home from the bar, and we proceeded to get frisky. She was on top of me, and asked if I wanted it rough. I didn't. He wanna say no, trying to match her adventurous. So I said sure. I had my eyes closed, and opened them to see her with her fist cocked back, and a big shit-eating grin on her face. Before I can react, she punches me closed fist square inches the jaw. I was not expecting that. Edit. Sorry I didn't include the aftermath, but it's pretty short. After she punched me, I came like 3 seconds later. I learned something about myself that night. My current BF thought it would be a good idea to slap my vulva very hard. Sex was over immediately and I asked him why the F he would do that and if I should slap his dick that hard. He definitely got that from porn. If I should slap his dick that hard, it will just bounce around like a doorstop. Try it. I felt that in my chair, fully clothed. This was totally unintentional, and definitely was not meant to spice things up, but it ended up being this way. My partner and I were hanging out at home one night, making dinner, watching TV, etc. Fast forward to the bedroom. I start feeling some general discomfort down there, and all of a sudden, severe pain. Turns out, he had not washed his hands properly after chopping bird's eye chili peppers. Definitely did not need that kind of spice in my life. I have posted about this before a while ago, so here it is again. I met a very nice guy off of Tinder. We had a couple dates and then he opened up the fact that he was a virgin by choice, but had done pretty much everything else but actual sex. I respected his decision and figured he was at least a little bit experienced with other things. So one night I go over to hang out, and things get a bit hot and heavy quickly. We are making out. He is feeling me up outside my shirt. I can tell he is aroused, and then this man starts dry humping the outside of my leg with the force and speed of 1,000 sexually oppressed chihuahuas. I did not realize that his experience only specialized in dry humping like a jackhammer. I was mortified. I desperately tried not to laugh and escape at the same time. I guess the dude finally came or something, but he finally got off me and was dripping sweat and asked if I liked it. I just laughed and said it was different. Dry humping when you say you are experienced is not fun unless you are specifically told to dry hump like that. First time my girlfriend and I were able to be alone to have sex since we had started dating. We had sex prior, just quiet, at your parents' house sex. We decided to get all the gimmicky condoms to spice shit up and have just a great time. Trojan fire and ice made my dick go soft. She tried to suck it to make it hard again, and fast forward to her with a numb mouth, me with a numb, floppy dick, both hysterically laughing that we totally ruined our first chance at loud, let it all go sex. 2 years later, we still look back and laugh at this all the time. It is times like these that build bonds relationships. I swear. Edit yes, at your parents' house. Edit 2 thank you for the silver. It's my first award of any kind. Glad our misery could give you a laugh. I did something that kinda ruined the mood once. Me and my girlfriend at the time, we were young and she was my first, were fooling around when I had this idea. I went into the kitchen and put a handful of ice cubes in my mouth. I came back and went down on her with my now cold lips. She likes the feeling, so I took it further and pushed all the ice cubes up her with my tongue. It was so cold inside her we had to stop. The ice cubes would not come back out, so we had to sit and wait while my girlfriend defrosted. She was like a leaky tap for 20 minutes. We laughed about it the whole time. I can throw this story in here. Moved in with my girl and a friend. Things were going pretty well for a while, then it became like a weird sitcom where we had an adult son. Anyway, we were having an indoor date night, just the two of us. You know, wine, candles, I cooked, etc, and our man-child sent out for the evening. So dessert comes around and I have made profiterole rolls with chocolate sauce. At this point we have probably had the best part of 2 bottles of wine and we start messing around. I wipe some chocolate on her face playfully. She then asks me to lick it off, which I do. Nothing too mad there. She then drops a little on her chest and says lick it off. I oblige. The next thing I know, my shirt is off and we're licking melted chocolate off of each other, which is great, by the way, try it if you haven't. The chocolate is solidifying slowly as she tells me to pour some on my cock. In my drunken excitement I can't get the chocolate out of the pot, so I instead dip the tip of my member in the sauce. She then happily sucks it off. Things get more intense and we end up banging right there on the floor before even eating the profiteroles. So we finish up and she decides she wants to keep the profiteroles, so in the fridge they go, sauce and all. In hindsight maybe a little weird. About 4:30 am I wake up to the sound of the microwave going off and a drunken roommate singing stolen profiteroles are my kind of thing. My partner wanted me to choke her. I had only done it a few times. We practiced a few times gently to make sure I didn't crush her windpipe, so in the middle of it we have a safe word. And I told her if she can talk to tap if it is too much. Her eyes roll in the back of her head a lot during sex, so I was used to that. She got really quiet but kept grabbing me. I got nervous and let go a little bit, but she then pulled on me tighter, I guess to choke more. She tapped out shortly after, collected her breath, and we took a break. She said she definitely was very close to blacking out, which scared the shit out of me. She proceeded to ask me to choke her up to that point again. It was a turn on she didn't expect. She was into almost passing out, so I guess breath play. X wanted to do storytelling roleplay and I agreed to give it a shot. He said the scene as me swimming in the ocean and then small fish swimming up to me and then softly nibbling on my lady bits. Noped out immediately. I have no desire to have sexy times with animals, even imaginary animals. He got incredibly offended that I was not into his creative story and I did not let him get to the good parts, but I was not interested in even asking what he intended to do next. TLDRX got hurt feelings that I was not turned on by the idea of fish cunnilingus. Roommate in college, he met a hot chick at the bar, brought her home, they started going at it in our living room in the dark. He gets her shirt off and goes to town sucking on her nipples. He was a breast guy. Anyway, he is going to town and getting rougher and rougher. He is biting her nipple and sucking on it harder and harder. All of a sudden, he felt a pop and his mouth was filled with thick salty mush that tasted like rotten meat. It coated his tongue and mouth and he tried to spit it out only to have his mouth still coated with a thick fetid horrible tasting mess. He retched, the gagged, then puked on the floor. He stood up, and flicked on the light. It was then he realized that he was not just sucking on her nipple. She had a huge boil near her nipple, and he popped it into his mouth. She did not know what had happened but soon figured it out. He turned around and threw up in our sink. One of the walls of our living room was also our kitchen. The sink was ducking filled with dishes too. Once he told her what happened, she started crying, put her shirt back on and fled the apartment. He puked a little more later on when he thought about what had happened. He never saw her again. We both took a small amount of MDMA because we had heard it makes everything really fluffy and intense and lovey. Well, after about an hour we turned into insanely loud and vulgar pigs, and most of the intercourse happened in my hallway next to the front door. Mind you, you can hear everything if you walk by outside, and I live right next to two co-workers. I need to note at that point that my BF had his arm in a sling due to a recent shoulder surgery. As we went on in our relentless and loud banging, all our neighbors could hear was, "Come on now you dirty cripple, duck the shit out of me. Can you do that with your cripple sling?" With the response, "Alright you ducker, I will duck you up the ass dry and piss in your face," and so on. These are the lines we remember well. The rest is kinda blurry. We woke up the next morning, agreeing that we missed the fluffy and intense lovey experience, but nothing else. Tried to do some roleplay as me being the older guy and her the young innocent. She is a fair bit older than me, so we thought it would be fun. Also, we had been dating for only a few months, so it was our first time trying to roleplay. We start in the bathroom and as I push her up on the sink she says, "Oh god. But I am only a sophomore." Me, being an immature 19-year-old, couldn't pass up on the opportunity to quickly shout statutory rape. Air Condre show reference. Yeah, that ended the roleplay right there. Thankfully she just laughed it off and said she couldn't think of anything to say in the heat of the moment and was embarrassed. I guffawed and we continued our exploits without a hitch. We 5 years in, married and have a kid now, so you could say things worked out just fine, laughing my freaking butt off. This happened several years ago. My ex talked me into letting him fist me. I have no idea why I agreed to it. He started out slow, which was not bad, until without warning he decided to shove his whole fist up my crotch with just about an inch past his wrist. Me in shock and somewhat amazement that it fit, then the uncomfortable pressure of his fist in my vag hits. At this time he thinks it is an awesome opportunity to start moving his hand around. I let him know that it was uncomfortable and starting to hurt a bit. He says okay and starts to pull out. He can't. Somehow my vag became angry at this intruder and my muscles clamped down on him like a vice. We start to kind of panic, me more than him because I had snuck over to his house. He starts frantically telling me to relax. I try but cannot because now I am full on panicking and he's trying to pull his hand out. In the end it took a whole hour and a half for me to relax my body. Enough for him to free himself. We agreed never to try that again and never speak of it. Days later I realized in that panic and struggle we had popped my hips a bit out of place. I found sitting down properly was uncomfortable for a while. It took about 3 years for them to pop back into place on their own no matter how I had tried to pop them back. Yeah, vaginas can be cruel machines. Unrelated in regards to fisting, but my GF after coming once clamped down so hard on my dick I could not get it out. Like I can totally understand how awkward it is to be stuck with someone, especially with a fist. Well, props on you for trying something new. A girl I know heard that if a guy goes down on a girl with a Listerine strip in his mouth that it feels amazing. She got her BF to try it with her and regretted it instantly. A few years later she asks me if I had any body powder because her thighs were rubbing together when she was working out. Without thinking I tossed her some mentholated Gold Bond. She takes off on her run, gets about a quarter mile down the road, stops, makes a beeline straight for the locker room and takes a shower. She then tells me about how that was worse than the Listerine strips and her BF. Guess what she got teased with for years after? It was not the Gold Bond. Tried nipple play, but instead of gentle stuff, He literally turned into a vacuum and essentially tried removing my breasts with sheer willpower. Hurt so bad I reflexively hit him to get him off of me. Did not learn the lesson and did the same thing while going down on me later. I looked to see what the ducky was doing and it was so gross looking it put me off of getting eaten out for a long time. Hit him that time too cause guess what? Sucking actually hurts. Was doing the deed and she started screaming daddy daddy pound my little pussy. I am not joking when I say I stopped, look at her and said never do that again. It's kind of funny how you can be doing something so intense and come to a dead stop ready to walk away forever. It is a bit disturbing to me how common this is though. Everyone wants to call me daddy and be choked half unconscious. Everyone wants to call me daddy and be choked half unconscious. Please introduce me to everyone. She wanted to give us no job, usually done with ice cream. She only had Chardonnay. I was down, then I was not. Edit also one time she wanted to role-play as a Ukrainian hairdresser named Lolita. Cut to the point where she wants to fix my hair for real and accidentally maces me in the face with hairspray. I called her the shittiest hairdresser on the planet and then I am told I have to stand on the front porch and wait for another appointment. 20 minutes later I just come back inside cause she did not answer the door. Found her passed out on the bathroom floor with said hairspray and a bottle of McCormick. It was a bad next day. Guyvine at the old college try in an ex's room. I am on the bottom going at it with the linguistic language of love washes Guyvine me top when all of a sudden I feel a finger attempt to slide past my gooch. Hard number. Ain't nothing going in my nether realm. Anyways out of pure instinct my ass cheeks clench so tight that not even Ant-Man could fight his way in. I think she understood the unspoken signals because she slid her hand back trying to play it off. Now if she had asked or mentioned the idea of it first, I might not have had the reaction of trapping her sheets between my cheeks, but unexpected. I only felt shock and maybe a little fear, too. So one time me and my partner bought one of these variety packs meant to spice things up in bed. It had some interesting condoms, a vibrating cock ring, and some small packs of interesting loops. One day we were getting frisky and she decides she wants to break out one of the loops and do some anal, so we look at the different types and she settles on a warming sensation loop. Great, some foreplay and preparation later and we are ready to go and all lubed up. We begin the act and sure enough that is getting warm. Damn, it is pretty hot feeling. Ow, this is getting unpleasant. Jesus Christ, stop. Both of us at about the same time realize we ducked up. I extract myself from her and we both proceed to enter the fetal position and writhe in pain for 20 or so minutes before the pain began to subside. I assume that either the lube was a defect with way too much warming material in it or perhaps that kind of lube should not be used for anal. Regardless, it was extremely unpleasant. I was told that she wanted to listen to music. I put on Escape from the City from Sonic Adventure 2. I put on some nice underwear and as we lay on the bed, he aimed and peed on my nice underwear. Yeah, he had a piss fetish. I did not. Stuck a finger up my butt while in doggy style. I am female. Was not amused, and man, that was a real hard nope for me. I do know if this counts, but had a one-night stand request. I call him the N-word before going down on him. Where I just part, he was not even black, he was Asian. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.